Okay.
I'm the hero
of this?
of the story I'm about to tell. I start the story by saying, I'm the hero of the story I'm about to tell.
Now, I've been... Welcome
You
to
owe
Good
me
Mythical
one.
More.
You owe me one.
Okay, Rhett proved his friendship in a recent camping catastrophe. I'll let him share the morbid details, but I'm starting to think maybe it's me, man, these camping catastrophes.
You get hurt a lot.
You go camping with your family, nothing happens, including fun.
Yeah, we don't get killed.
We don't get killed. No one get killed.
Sudden expected camping death syndrome. That's called the throwback, callback. Okay, so we went camping, 3 families. Actually, our wives went out of town, and so the 2 of us, along with our friend
Mom's weekend away.
Let the ladies have some time away from the children.
Right.
And it was us and our friend Joseph.
And then 9 children.
Yeah, 9 children. So
3,
I've got to. Well, you're doing the math.
6, 7.
There was a
8.
dog. There was a dog.
8.
He had. Oh, yes.
Ian.
Yeah. So we.
8.
Yeah.
8 children and a dog. So 9 children.
Okay, 9 children. You're right.
One
9
of which is
beings.
a dog.
My 2 sons, Link's 3 kids, Joseph's 2 daughters, and then their friend Ian, who is like Locke and Lincoln's age. So.
Crony.
We decided to kind of divide the kids up because they like to hang out with each other in these subgroups amongst the larger groups. So you've got the 2 little kids, you've got the 2 little boys,
Shepherd and Lando,
best buds, and they want to be together. And then you've got the girls who want to be together. Then you got the older boys. So
Locke, Lincoln, and their friend Ian.
And so we knew that Joseph should be with his two little girls, and then Lily in one tent. You should probably be with Lando and Shepherd, because if Lando starts freaking out at night,
he's the youngest.
Something might happen.
Right.
Then you should be with him. And so that kind of by default puts me with the older boys. So I had in my tent Locke, Lincoln, and Ian. Now, it was a weird evening to start with. First of all, we had a guy come up to us and tell us that we had to put the dog on a leash. It was Chaz the dog is a corgi, and he like comes up to
the
this
happiest
guy.
corgi.
Yeah, corgis ain't never done no harm to nobody, and this guy's like, whoa, hey, whoa. He's like backing up. He's like, put a leash on the dog. Put the leash on your dog. There's a leash law here. So that was the first kind of misstep. Made another camper mad.
And then the second thing was, Lily and the girls, they went and gathered all the materials for a fire.
Wood.
They're like spinning up, getting all this wood and straw, and they're so excited about starting the fire.
That's what camping's about.
And then they build like the little teepee with the straw underneath. Like, can we start the fire? No, not yet. Can we start the fire? No, it's 4 o'clock. No, can we start the fire? No. And then finally I'm like, girls, you can start the fire.
Yeah.
So then I get in there, start the fire. This thing takes off. Like within 60 seconds of
very
this,
soon,
all of a sudden, dude in a Prius with a logo on the side.
A logo that said Forest Service on it, so it was a legit.
Busts out of his car, runs up to our camp, says, hey, you cannot have a fire, you have to put the fire out right now! Right now!
Yeah.
And the dude was worked up big time. And we were like, sorry, we didn't know. We'll put it out. And he's like, right now!
Turns out that there's this obviously there's the big drought in California. You can't have campfires even at designated campsites right now, at least in the Los Padres National Forest.
Because typically you can't have campfires except in a designated fire
Right,
ring, which is what we were doing.
Yeah, we thought, we can have it in the fire ring, but no, right now no fires at all at this particular campsite.
That really takes the wind out of your sails.
It takes the fire out of the campsite.
Literally.
Which is a big deal.
But it only takes a spark to start a forest fire.
Yeah, so I understand the philosophy, and we're on board with Smokey the Bear. So, but the thing that we were told is that we could use our Coleman stove that we both had. Joseph had one, we had. So we actually ended up roasting marshmallows on a Coleman stove, which, it's better than nothing.
And roasting sausages over the Coleman
We made
stove.
everything on that Coleman stove.
And roasting, potatoes. We roasted everything over that Coleman stove.
And the kids ate quite a bit. This is a key to the story, where the story's going to go. The kids ate quite a bit. A couple of sausages here, some s'mores here and there.
Donuts there, some chips here.
Maybe more than they normally eat.
Some stuff that their moms would never let them eat, kind of a scenario.
So we send the kids to bed, and then the men stay up and talk for a little bit, and then it's time for us to turn in, and we go and we turn in, and the kids are asleep. And I get on my air mattress. I put my earplugs in. I do not camp without earplugs. And I know you don't either.
I had earplugs.
It is a big deal. And I put a toboggan, not for warmth, but for no sight, toboggan down over my eyes. So I am in a cocoon of warmth and silence and darkness. That is disturbed at about 3 a.m. when I hear the sound of retching. Sounded a lot like Link retching, but like a younger version of Link.
I didn't think you knew, actually.
I didn't know at the time. At the time, I thought that it was my son. I wake up and I can only see by the starlight that's coming into the tent.
You couldn't see anything. You had a hat right here.
Well, I'm earplugs out, I'm in the world, and I see a child standing at the face of the tent. And there is a liner for, you can unzip an inner part of the door to let a window appear. You know, there's a mesh window in the door.
Let a flap come down, so then there's a mesh window, but the door is still shut.
We had that mesh window kind of half undone, and I see a child pulling that flap back and vomiting into the flap. So technically vomiting into the tent and outside of the tent at the same time. Could have been worse. And I'm like, lock! I think it's lock, and I'm just immediately like freaking out. Like the first thing I think is camping trip over. I am about to pack it in. I'm out of here. Vomit inside of a tent. Vomit inside of a tent, big problem for me personally. And then I look at the profile and I realize it's Lincoln, your son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to do now? And then I'm like, Lincoln, what are you doing? He was like, throwing up. And I was like, are you done? He was like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, think. So I had the overhead lamp that was hanging in the middle of the tent. I cut it on, and I'm like, okay. Well, I see the vomit in the flap kind of being held. So, okay, where else did you throw up? And he was like, a little bit in my bed. And I look, and there's like a few chunks. Not like just literally like 5 chunks on the sleeping bag, and then a little wet spot down there like near the door, and then this big vomit bag. And
it's suspended in the middle of the door of the tent.
But here's the way it works. There's basically a waterproof, mostly a water resistant sort of flap, and then there's the net, and then there's the outside of the tent. And I could see through the shadow that was being cast by the light, the solids of the vomit had been trapped in this little pouch, but the liquids of the vomit had gone down the outside of the tent.
Like a strainer.
Like a strainer, yes. We had strained out the solids from vomit, which is just something you never want to do for any reason. And at this moment, I think to myself, I have a choice. I really feel like it would be helpful to have another adult to help me with this, but that adult would be Link, because it's your son. I would wake you up. I looked at the clock, the phone, 3 a.m. I know what kind of sleep you're having at 3 a.m. and I know how difficult it would be to get you to engage. So I thought dealing with Link at 3 a.m. is probably going to make this more difficult. And you know what? I don't want to bother him. I'm going to handle this on my own.
And it happened in your tent. You're responsible for that tent.
Okay, yeah. And so I go through I unzip the tent and slip out without the vomit getting on me. I get all we had was paper towels and a jug of water. And so I go back and I'm like throwing the jug of the water on the side. I'm throwing paper towels into the tent and saying, Lincoln, pick up every chunk you can find and then hand me the paper towel.
Ew.
He's in there cleaning it up.
And all the other boys are awake now too.
Oh, they're all awake and they just think it's the craziest thing ever. They're like, this is the craziest camping trip. Couldn't have had a fire. Lincoln's throwing up in the tent. You know, they love it.
They love it.
And I will say, credit to your son, it did not smell that bad. I wanted to throw up while I was cleaning the throw up. Mm-hmm. But it did not have that really high acidic, nasty vomit smell.
He's good at that. He's really good at
You've trained him well.
Good smelling vomit.
Yeah.
I'm like, son, if you're gonna vomit, at least make it smell good.
It didn't smell good. It just didn't.
At least
it wasn't
make it
unbearable.
not smell bad.
But I did have to pull that flat back and take a paper towel and rake all the solids out. And I left some in there, which I know you cleaned up on over the weekend when you had to set the tent up in the yard.
Back home, yeah.
But then I was like, okay.
So you strained that, and that's what you mixed in with the eggs
for
breakfast.
Sausage. I said, Lincoln, you gonna do this? I said, Lincoln, you're probably gonna throw up again. I don't know if this is food poisoning or if you're just getting sick, but you throw up once in the middle of the night, you usually throw up again. I said, we're gonna reconfigure ourselves inside the tent so that your head can be next to the flap of the door, and I'm gonna unzip it. And I did a drill. I said, okay, let's say you had to throw up. What would you do? And he like sticks his mouth out of the hole. I'm like, no, we gotta get the whole head. In fact, let's do the whole upper body out. Hold yourself on the ground and vomit. And he was like, you know how Lincoln gets when you're telling him something? He just has this little smile on his face like he doesn't know how to respond, so his default is just like, and so he's like, sticking his head
positive.
Out. He's like, is this right? I'm like, that's right, that's what you gotta do. He didn't throw up again, but we wake up in the morning and of course the kids tell you the episode, and now you owe me big time.
What? I will say that true test of friendship, you passed. I do appreciate it.
I cleaned up your child's vomit. I mean, you cleaned up your own child's vomit.
But it didn't smell bad.
I mean, it wasn't pleasant.
I do appreciate it. You did great work, and I would like to think I would have cleaned up Shepard's vomit if it was in my tent that I was in charge of. But I can't say.
Oh, you think you would have woke me up, huh?
I don't know.
I don't know. I gotta think about it. Now you won't wake me up though.
Now I can't because I owe you.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that.
Next time any one of my family members vomits, I'm gonna call you up, even if you're not there. If my wife vomits, I'm gonna be like, hold on, baby, hold that in. Link's gotta come over and deal with this to pay me back.
All right, so I haven't told you a very recent encounter I had with my sixth son, Lando.
Your sixth son?
Lando, sick. Like, man, he is sick, man. He is just about to vomit. So I get home and I pull into the driveway, and my kid transportation vehicle, a minivan, parked in the driveway. And
Link recently upgraded his minivan to a minivan.
My child transportation vehicle. And so I pull in the driveway, and I notice that said vehicle, all the doors and windows are all open, and ain't nobody in there. And then the booster seat is outside of the vehicle. And I don't think much of it, because I don't think much.
Yeah.
You know, that time of day, I'm getting home from work, I'm like, man, I have just no time for thinking.
Right.
Time for walking and time for eating dinner. Go in the house, and Lando's on the couch, and everybody else is at the dinner table getting ready to eat. And Chris is like, we had some trouble with Lando and the trip home. He said, I don't feel good.
A little late.
Yeah.
A little late on that one,
So it's like, there's no, at the age of 4 or 5 years old, he's come to find out, the boy has never vomited before. This is his first vomiting experience that he recollects, okay?
I'm sure he did as a child, as a baby.
So, and you'll have to cross-reference this, because I remember you told a story about Shepard vomiting. I think you made the statement that you don't truly become a father until you're cleaning up your son's vomit, or something like that. Well, okay, let's see if that theory holds here. So we're sitting down to dinner. He's over there. So he threw up in the van. They had to air out the van. So she said, go out there and see if it still stinks. So I went out there.
Doesn't that new van have a button and it just cleans itself?
Well, it opens. It airs itself out.
I thought you got the one with an anti-vomit device.
No, I should have. Does that exist? And so then we go back in the house. I'm like, you know what? I rolled up the windows. I closed it. Everything's good to go. The seat's still on the outside because that's the thing that stinks the most.
Okay.
And then we eat dinner and we're hanging out and we're watching, I don't know, something on television. The kids love that Master Chef with the kids. The producers teach them how to cook off camera, and then the kids take full credit for it on camera.
Such a cynic.
We love that show, but by the way, it's all about food.
Yeah.
And by this time, I had just, because I didn't experience the first vomiting, time, I had totally forgotten that he was sick. So he's sitting in my lap.
Oh, good.
On the couch, watching the Master Chef Junior. And it's a commercial break, and I don't have...
That steak looked good. Did you do that?
The TiVo, I don't have TiVo. So at the commercial breaks, I like to mute the commercials.
Yeah.
So
You're really holding out there.
I reached for.
No DVR.
I know I'm giving a lot of detail here, but I reached forward to grab the remote.
Mute it.
I reached forward to grab the remote in order to mute it, and that was the moment that I think I applied a little too much pressure on Lando, and he puked again right there. But I did get it muted, and so he's puking, and there was, I was panicking. It was on me, it was on the couch, it was on the rug. We have hardwood floors, but it hit everything except the hardwood floor.
Yeah.
And so I'm panicking. All this happens in a matter of milliseconds, but to me it feels like an eternity. Not enough time for me to think logically, though. Christy gets up and starts running around, and I'm like, I can't even make words come out. And I reach my hand up and instinctively put my hand over his mouth.
Oh, I thought you went to your mouth.
No, not to my mouth, to his mouth, as he was vomiting. So he's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like vomiting all over my hand.
Let me guess, that didn't really work.
It didn't help. It didn't stop him up. And so I stood up, and Christy comes back with towels, and Lily's got towels, and I'm like, trash can. And then I get him vomiting into a trash can, and he's done by this point.
Wow, this is quite a process.
And we clean everything up. We still get to see the last 10 minutes of MasterChef Junior.
You could have seen all of it if you
If
paused.
I had TiVo.
Yeah.
I don't have that technology. And
Future.
so then we put the kids to bed, and Christian and I are watching something else on TV, and I'm sitting there watching. And of course I'm totally clean at this point. My hand still has that smell on it.
Never goes away.
It never goes away.
It takes days.
Days. What in the smell? Smell it.
No.
Smell right there.
It's a lesson, man. It's
How
a
did-
lesson to get TiVo.
I use soap. I use dishwashing detergent. I used salt scrub.
You gotta burn it.
Got to burn the hand.
You gotta boiling water. Stick your hand in the boiling water.
Start all
That
over.
does it, yeah. Start all over, not with a new hand.
Just like Groot. And so that was a few nights ago, actually. So he's only been drinking Gatorade. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but that's what we do in our house. You just drink Gatorade. Just pump them full of athleticized sugar and some rice, perhaps, maybe some bread.
The old rice and Gatorade diet.
Yeah, and he hasn't vomited again, but there's still a little bit
I
on
seem
it.
to like it a little bit.
Nah, I do think I finally got rid of it, but it involves
Hey, listen, it'll
some
never
lemon
leave
scrub.
that van, though. I'll tell you right now.
Really?
You get your nose up on that van seat. Never leave.
But I do feel like I've got to have a better game plan. I shouldn't just don't grab the mouth. Yeah, hold out.
I think you
Alex
got to get him out, and you got to get him.
Point him
into a
at-
place like even the fireplace.
Point him at the
In your house,
sibling.
the fireplace would have been okay.
Oh, fireplace.
Because then you just turn it on after it's over with. Just burn it all up.
You're into the burning stuff. What's burning and vomit?
It's the closest.
No, point it
Dang.
at the sibling that you're having the most issues.
Yeah, the one you want to teach a lesson to.
Right.